Hey everybody, I'm Corbin Hostler. Welcome to Mighty Modern. This week we have a deck. We play a lot of Magic on this series and play a lot of fun Magic. The goal this week is to make sure our opponents do not play Magic. So what we have here is Sun and Moon. It's a deck that's been floating around and really has picked up some waves recently. It's never done anything at a Grand Prix level, and you're not going to see it in any top eights or anything like that. But it does put up somewhat consistent results on Magic Online, basically because it plays some of the strongest hate cards in the format. So what am I talking about here? Starting at the top, we're talking about Blood Moon. If all of your opponents have mountains and it's turn two, they can't really play much Magic, and Blood Moon leads to a lot of free wins. Similarly, Chalice of the Void on turn 1 or 2 for 1 mana locks out all kinds of opponents. When you're on the play, you play this on turn 1 and your opponent can't even play their 1 drop, whatever that may be, you just absolutely steamroll people. So those are probably the two biggest, hate cards in the format outside of you maybe ensnaring bridge or worship or something, but they just lock out opponents so well. And what this deck does is aim to put them out as quickly as possible. It does that through Simian Spirit Guide mainly. It's a Lotus Petal. It's a 2/2. It's not a Gray Ogre. Maybe it is. I don't remember what the generic 2/2 for 3 is. Maybe it's a Gray Ogre. Uh, Regardless, it does it all. It's a Lotus Petal when you need it to be. It's a creature when you need it to be. It blocks for your Planeswalkers. But it allows you, if you have two of these, to play a turn 2 Planeswalker, a turn 1 Blood Moon, a turn 1 Chalice of the Void for 1, so on. It also has Gemstone Caverns, which, if you are on the draw, and this is in your opening hand, you can exile another card from your hand to put it into play to start the game. So what it does is, at the cost of one card from your hand, you essentially steal the play from your opponent, and it comes in play with a luck counter, and it means you can make any color of mana with it. So this is another way. It's sort of, in some situations, Simian Spirit Guide 5 through 6 to play out your spells faster. So that's what we want to do. You want to play these haymakers early, Chalice of the Void, Blood Moon, that just lock people out. Outside of that, we have things that make that plan good, and that means Lightning Helix, get yourself some life, kill their early creatures, Journey to Nowhere, Banishing Light, take care of their problematic permanents, problematic creatures, uh, Anger of the Gods. And this is one of the other big hate cards right now because it's actually just insane against a bunch of decks. A bunch of decks that maybe don't care about Chalice of the Void, your Dredge deck, or your some Obzan Company. A lot of times, Elves, these sort of things, they're so weak to Anger of the Gods. Kitchen Finks is weak to Anger of the Gods. It just takes care of the problems forever. They're not Eternal Witnessing stuff back. They're not doing anything with it. Anger of the Gods does so much work because of the Exile clause on it. So it's so good to have in the main deck and have a deck that can main deck these. Wrath of God cleans up the bigger things that your Anger of the Gods doesn't take care of. Then the Planeswalker Suite. This is typically how you win games. Chandra, Torture Defiance, very good. You can do a lot of stuff with it. Obviously, he had mana, kill creatures, etc. It's both a removal spell when you play it. Remember, as early as turn 2 with the Simian Spirit Guides, and then starts to generate card advantage or mana advantage, which can be important. A Johnny Vigit, another red-white one here, good for Lightning Helixing something by -8 when you need it to. It's important to get that life sometimes. It can lock down their lands, it can lock down one of their creatures. Just very versatile. Nahiri, of course, being the backbone of so many modern control decks. It's card advantage, it's removal, it's a win condition, all in one, at just the small cost of putting an Emrakul in your deck, which, sometimes you draw it and you have it in your hand and you don't have Nahiri to loot it away. That's life, but it's definitely worth it because Nahiri is great. Gideon Jura protects your board. Another removal spell comes attached to a Planeswalker, and you put up these walls where your Blood Moons and your Wraths and your Anger of the Gods and your Chalices, you're just locking out your opponents from doing anything, and your Planeswalkers are the perfect way to turn that advantage into a win. The final couple cards to talk about here, Tezzeret's Gambit. It's blue, but you don't obviously have blue mana for it. You can pay for Xyz mana, 2 life. It has Proliferate. Draw 2 cards, so it's sort of a nice divination when you need it to be. But you can put another counter in your Chalice if you need to move it up to 2. You can use it on your Planeswalkers, etc. It's just very good. As sort of that one of card advantage flex spot, right? And then this is probably one of my favorite win conditions in all of Modern, outside of like Ghoul Caller's Bell or whatever. Assemble the Legion, 5 mana enchantment. Put it in a it's a muster counter on Assemble the Legion beginning of your upkeep. Then put a 1/1 soldier with haste and play for each muster counter on it. So you can play this thing again. You can play it very early, and it will take over a game in just a few turns. It's 1 token on the first turn, slow payoff, but 2, then 3, then 4. They have haste. They can block. They can do whatever, and this will take over games if they go long enough. And this deck's pretty great at making games go long. So really good win condition there. Moving on to the sideboard, pretty general. I mean, it's all white cards, right? We have ley lines for the discard or burn decks, etc. Blessed Alliance, one of my favorite all-around sideboard cards in Modern. It has stuff good against Boggles, good against Infect, good against aggro decks that gain you life. Really does it all. Celestial Purge is basically an out to Liliana of the Veil because that card's very dangerous. So you bring this in against the Jund decks or other decks that have a bunch of black creatures. Rest in Peace, Dredge Hate, etc. You can also bring it in against Snapcaster decks. Now that Dredge is getting banned, so it's weaker a little, maybe especially if you're playing online, don't need 4 of these in your sideboard and you're already playing Anger of the Gods, maybe able to switch this up to like Graph Digger's Cage or something. Stony Silence, Anti-Affinity, Spellskite, again, just good in a wide range of matchups. And then Elspeth, Sun's Champion, good against Ban Eldrazi, good against a lot of mid-range decks in general, good against control decks. If you can land it, it'll take over. Just a powerful card. A lot of versions of this deck actually made deck Elspeth, though I sort of looked at a few different lists and that didn't, and that's why we have it in the sideboard. But this is the deck, colloquially called Sun and Moon. I think that actually probably started because it played Sun Titan plus Blood Moon, and now it doesn't play Sun Titan. So, whatever. It has planes. There's a sun in the art, and it's got Blood Moon. Sun and Moon, Red White Prison, Red White Control, whatever you want to call it. It's very good at keeping your opponent from playing Magic. So, excited to show this one to you guys. So, let's go ahead and give it a go.